Welcome back, guys, to, I'd love to say another YouTube, but I've been very inconsistent lately. So we are in the one and only Nebula. Where else would I be? My second home. We are in for lower 3. So the session is a little bit different to what I was doing before, just because I tweaked my back a few weeks ago. So we're still just trying to mind the core back, keep that in a nice position so that I don't end up crippled. But 6 weeks until we start prep, which I just think is flowing in, like, I think it's absolute madness. So this is actually the longest time that I've taken away from stage since I started competing, really. So it's been nice. I've been on a little hiatus, I think that's the word. But yeah, I'm really just looking forward to cranking up the numbers, putting on some mass onto this ass, and yeah, just seeing what we can do for next year. So we're gonna start with the abductor. I was using the gluteator for a bit, but after running that for, like, I'd say a good 3 or 4 months, I just wanted to go back to the abductor. I'll probably add in the gluteator for one of my sessions, because all of my lower sessions start with some sort of abduction. The reason for that is because my feedback last year was to bring up my upper glutes. So anything that brings your leg away from the midline, from like the center of your body, is going to target more of the upper and outer glutes. So we put this first, but it also complements and the rest of the exercises really nicely, because you're getting kind of like, you're opening out the hips, you are getting that engagement in through the upper glute. You will feel like your glute max, like the peak of your glute working as well. But yeah, so I'm going to do probably 2 more warm-up sets and then get into my working sets. I have 3 working sets here, so let's get after it. When women are doing the abductor, but generally it's actually when anyone is doing the abductor, is that they'll actually lean forwards. Now, there's nothing wrong with leaning forwards. It's just not going to hit your upper glute. It hits more of the glute max. Yes, you will feel your glutes more, but if you actually lean back, you're going to hit that upper and outer glute much more. So it really depends on what you're trying to hit. Do you know what I mean? But another thing that I do see is a lot of people, they'll sit with like their pelvis is like this, whereas you actually want to think about tucking the pelvis down. Now, not to the point where you're like this, but that you're actually just sitting in more of a neutral position. So that way then, you can actually properly engage your upper and outer glutes. So there's 2 little tips for you guys. So next up we have, what do we have? That's actually a good question. So we have hip banded RDL. So this used to be just a standard Romanian deadlift, but with my back acting up, basically I have the back of like a 90-year-old woman. Love that for me. So we changed it to hip banded because it's making it a lot more glute focused, which obviously for a bikini, like, there's nothing wrong with making something a little bit more glute focused. I mean, no one's feedback really in the amateur league has been that your glutes are too big. So yeah, so at the top of like a regular RDL, there's actually no tension, whereas when you have the band around your hips, which I'll show you in a minute, there's actually constant tension. So what I'm finding is, like, yes, they have to use a little bit less load, which I'm like, yeah, that's grand, because it just makes my life a lot easier. But I just find there's more tension throughout the whole rep as opposed to just at the bottom or just at the top. So yeah, the black band and accessories. A lot of people actually asked me how to set this up. The setup is actually really simple. So if you get like a squat rack, or even I've actually used this off of like one of the bench press thingies. I've used it off that. Basically anything that's stable that you're not gonna be able to drag over. Where you want it is at hip level. So just at the top of like your hip bone. You don't want it sitting too low because that's gonna be very uncomfortable. So just at the top of your hip bone. And you just grab it, your band, loop it through. Like so. And then you're good to go. And then all you do is literally just step in, or you can put it over your head, whichever you prefer. And then RDL your life away. Right. When I'm carrying over dumbbells or carrying over weight and I literally look like I can't lift it, and then I clearly lift it, just I can't do a farmer's walk with it. I wouldn't make it as a high rocks athlete anyway. So I'll do a warm set, 3 sets here. So two back off, 1 top set technically. So 1 10 to 12. Nah, I'm making that up. Okay, so 8 to 10 and then 10 to 13 twice. Yeah, so I was just making up them numbers. Rightio. Beautiful concoction. We have 10 grams of cyclic dextrin, carbs. Then we have 5 grams of citrulline malate and 15 grams of EAAs. All mixed up together. So the citrulline malate is one of my favourite supplements because it just gives you a sick pump. It's really nice. I find as well, like, when it's a little bit colder, it's harder to get a pump. If I can't get a pump, well, it's not the end of the world, but I do find when you have got more of a pump, it helps with the mind-to-muscle connection. I don't know if that's a scientific fact, okay, but it works for me, so that's what I'm gonna go with. I got mine off of Prozis. You can use code NadinePro10, get 10% off. And to be honest, I think it's actually quite affordable. I think it's something like €15 for 300 grams, and you're only using 5 grams, so definitely worth it. Give it a go, pop it into your intro workout, and thank me later. Right, gonna go into our top set, 8 to 10. Ideally, I'd like to get 10, but to be honest, I'd be happy with 8. So we'll just kind of see, we'll see how we go. If I start to feel it in my back, though, I'll just kind of call the set, because see, when I had to take like that 2, nearly 3 weeks off of training, that was not a fucking vibe. So we'll be sensible as much as we can. It's going to take me about 3 to 5 business days now here to get these wraps on, by the way. So if you want to grab some lunch and come back.
Oh, welcome back.
What?
Welcome back.
Yeah, I couldn't see shit. I could barely breathe. So what did I get? About 10. Yeah, so I'll do it again. Biggest tip I can give anyone for any pull movement, not just lower body, I mean like training your back, is using lifting straps. Someone said to me before that using lifting straps makes you a pussy. Like That's when I knew the conversation was over with them. But like if you look at any of the top bodybuilders in the world, they're all using lifting straps. There's no way like your forearm is gonna, and like your grip strength is gonna be stronger than your glutes, your hamstrings, your lats. Like, it's just not possible. Fair enough if you want to improve your grip, but the last time I checked, the judges don't actually come on stage and ask what your grip strength is. They just care about what they see in front of them. So I'm going to keep using my lifting straps, and I'm going to recommend for everyone to use their lifting straps. I'll use their lifting straps. The ones I'm using are from Hardbody. I don't have a discount code, but you know, if Hardbody did want to give me a discount code, I'd so be down for that. Obviously had to get them in purple because what other colour would we get them in? Started giving me hassle. Meg had changed this to doing an RDL on the belt squat, but not like with the handles, like you literally have the, like as if it's a belt squat, and just hinging back. And like I thought it was good, like I definitely, like I felt it, but I had to load something like, I think it was like 180 kilo onto the machine, because generally like those kind of like, what they like, hip shark, is that the technical name, is it?
Yeah.
Shark. Yeah, like generally I find them to be quite light. So like they're amazing for the gram, taking photos, and like amazing for your ego. But Jesus Christ, my hips were so bruised after like that much pressure on my hips. And I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm actually quite small. And so that's a lot of weight to have around your hips. So yeah, my hips were bruised for days. I love how I just spat there as well, that was lovely. Right. So 10, 7, beautiful. Right, one more set. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, last set. So, higher rep. So we're aiming for 10 to 13. So ideally I would like to get 13. I always try to aim for the higher end of the rep range, just because I feel like then like you can kind of scrape to get 10, but it's like, okay, what was the quality like? Do you know what I mean? But also another top tip is, just because I get to 13 doesn't mean that I'll just stop. If I feel like I've got more, I'll just keep going. I think that's where a lot of people get like too married to like their logbook or their training plan. Like 13 isn't like this magical number where if I hit 13, that's it, my glutes are gonna fucking be banging. Like no, it's just a gauge. So if I get 15 reps, grand. Like I'm not just gonna stop at the 13, I'll just log it down, and then I know for the next session, depending on how it looks, I either need to move up, or if there's a tempo issue, I need to address that. But don't just hit the number that's on your training plan. Like actually go until you can't go anymore. start of the session, my writing's always like lovely and neat and tidy. And then by the end of it, it literally looks like a chicken fucking roll. Oh God. Fuck, I just have to bring these back. That was actually one of the best parts about training with Chris. Poor Chris.
Was doing all the weights, yeah.
I'd like pretend like, oh no, I'll just do it, it's easier and quicker. Have the hip thrust. So with the issues that I've been having with my back, I've taken out the Smith machine hip thrust. I do really like it. I really enjoy it, but I find that it's just too easy for me to start using my back. So what I've done is I've gone just using the Nautilus glute drive. I feel like any kind of hip thrust machine they're basically all the same. It's pretty much all the same concept. Apart from like the booty builder ones, they're the only ones that are a little bit different. But this, because of the way that the machine is, like my back is completely flat against the base of it. So once I kind of can feel that my back is flat against the pad, then I'm like, right, okay, a little bit more locked in, a little bit more secure. I have stripped back the weight on this a good bit again, just to make sure that I am only using my quads, that I'm not using my back. Now, it is a compound movement. You are going to use like your erectors to a degree. You're going to use your hamstrings, you're going to use your quads, but I want to bias the glutes as much as possible. So yeah, we'll just start off nice and light. I'll do maybe 2 warm-up sets, kind of see how they feel, and then go from there. So, some tips for when you are setting up your hip thrust. Even though I am using, yes, the glute drive, the concept is still going to remain pretty much the same for any hip thrust. So, what you want to make sure is from the side that you're creating like a 90-degree angle with your leg, right? When you bring your hips down, you don't want your knees to start traveling towards you, because basically you're taking tension off the glutes. I'm not saying that by doing it that way that you're not going to target your glutes. Yes, you will, but from my understanding, when we're doing a hip thrust, we're trying to grow just our glutes, right? So, in order to make it as glute biased as possible, you want to make sure that your knees stay vertical all of the time, that they aren't rocking backwards and forwards. Another common thing that I see people doing is they use too much range of motion. For glutes actually don't need a massive amount of range of motion. So a lot of people come like all the way down, knees traveling like right towards them, and then they drive up. Yes, you are using your glutes, but you're also using a shit ton of quad as well. So to keep it as glute wise as possible, pick 90-degree angle, shins vertical, and literally just coming down on just to the point where your knees would start to travel towards you, and then drive up. You also want to keep your pelvis nice and neutral. So you'll see, right, as I come down into the machine, naturally I have got like a gap here. So what I actually do is I go like this and I flick my pelvis forwards, so that then my pelvis can remain neutral. Because if I was to start the hip thrust like this, I'm just using my back. Yes, I'm using a little bit of glutes, but I'm actually using more back than anything else. So see, if I was to come like down to here, that's too far. So see the way I'm only coming down here, pause, and drive up. Right, so that was the first warm set. First warm set is generally just like a feeler, make sure that like form feels good, and then I'll start to add some big boy plates. So 2 sets here. I'm going to look at the logbook, I'm going to start making up numbers again. I know there's a 12 to 15 in there. So, no, I actually completely made it. So I have 3 sets here, and there are 3 of 10 to 15. Right, okay. Glad I checked that. So what I'm going to do is I'll do 80 as my last warm-up set. Then I'll go to 100, see what I can get with that, and then kind of judge then the next 2 sets then based off of the heavier set. You'll notice as well with my warm-up sets, I don't do an awful lot of reps because especially like now I'm coming towards like the middle of my session, so I'm pretty warm, but I don't want to drive up loads of fatigue, so it doesn't make sense for me to be doing like 10-15 reps as a warm-up when I could be doing just 2 or 3, touch the weight, see how it feels, and then actually have then the energy to take my top sets. I think that's a mistake that a lot of people do. They think like that their warm-up sets have to be nearly as intense as the working sets, but warm-up sets are literally just to warm you up. Like the way I always say to my girls is you need to preheat the oven before you start cooking. That's basically what your warm-up sets are. Also find is that when you're looking like through your logbook and you're looking at like, oh, like what's the next exercise, I actually think it's better if you just don't look at what the next exercise is. Just focus on what's in front of you. Like there's no point, like I know the rest of the session I'm gonna get kicked around, but what's the point of me thinking about that now? Like all I need to do is just focus on the task that's at hand, doing my best there, and then yeah, just take the next exercise as it comes. Like there are some exercises that give me anxiety, I'm not gonna lie, but there's no point in me getting anxious about an exercise that's in 20-30 minutes. Do you know what I mean? I'm better off just focusing on what I need to do here, giving that everything, and then worry about the rest later. Range of motion. She wants just less range of motion, actually. That's all she actually said, so that's what we're going to give her. So to make this glute bias, we want as little knee flexion as possible, which basically means you don't want your knee to bend that much. So kind of like what I was saying with the hip thrust, you want to think about like a 90-degree angle. Feet are high but narrow. When I say narrow, I mean like hip width apart. A lot of people think that to engage your glutes, like your toes need to be mad turned out, almost like a sumo stance, you need to be super wide. Yes, that does hit your glutes, but it also hits a lot of adductor. For me, personally, my adductors are actually quite strong, so they actually overpower my glutes, so I need to make sure that I basically am able to like cancel out my adductors, which are the inside of the thigh, by the way. So yeah, by keeping my feet hip distance apart, slight turnout of the toes, like not like anything like this, like not like 10 and 2 or anything like that. And as I drive down, like bringing my knees towards me, I'm not letting my knees flare out, so I'm keeping them in line. That was another thing that I used to do, and I noticed that my adductors just kept growing even though I wasn't actually hitting adductors directly. That's why. So again, I'm not saying that if your knees started to turn out that you wouldn't hit your glutes, you would, but if you want to solely bias your glutes as much as possible, then make sure that you're keeping your knees in line. Right, so I got 11, next one's going to be 12 to 15. So yeah, I'm going to drop down to 3 plates because I didn't hit the higher range of the of the rep range. So it doesn't make sense if I do another set with the same weight. So we'll drop the weight, keep in the same tempo. Like, the way I think about each rep is, rather than going in and thinking like, oh, how easy can I make this, or how can I make this easier, I actually think, how can I make this rep the hardest? So I control the eccentric, I pause at the bottom, and then I drive up. I don't pause at the top unless I literally feel like I'm going to go into cardiac arrest, like I am now, and then I come straight back in. So I'm keeping constant tension, and I'm making every single rep as hard as it could be. That means I don't have to use as much load. Happy days for me, because clearly I have no grip strength bringing the barbells and bringing plates and dumbbells up and down the gym, and it just means as well, like, the less load that I'm using, the less likely I'm going to get injured, you know. So we are on to the hamstring curl. This is the second last exercise. I actually really like doing the lion hamstring curl towards the back end of my session, because it basically helps with spinal decompression. So if you think about it, it's actually helping to like elongate your spine a little bit, because obviously if you're doing like the leg press, it is squishing your spine down a little bit. I know that sounds very dramatic, but this does just help to kind of stretch everything out. And this is a higher rep range, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not actually a fan of anything that's like compressing on my chest. I just find it then hard to breathe, coupled with the fact that it is a higher rep range. So we've 2 sets, 12 to 15. Common mistake I see with this is people actually taking the load into their lower back. So what you want to think about is, when you come down, almost think about like hip thrusting into the pad. That's going to allow you to, 1, isolate your hamstrings more, and 2, it's going to help to keep your back stable. Now, you will get a little bit of lower back movement, but what you don't want is that there's literally like a gap in between like your hips and the pad. So you want to think about hip thrusting down into the pad, driving your heels up. As you drive your heels up towards your body, you don't want to let the toes start to flare out. It will happen naturally, especially towards the end of the set when your hamstrings get more tired, but it does take away from the hamstrings. So again, I'm not saying if your toes turn out, that's it, like it's not optimal, you're never going to grow a hamstring. What I'm saying is, to get the most out of every single rep, you want to make sure that your form is somewhat accurate. So let's go.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gates to open to a new tomorrow.
I also have a bit of a mental block around hamstring curls. So when I first ever started training in a gym, I obviously didn't really know what I was doing, and I was on the lion hamstring curl. I tore my hamstring. When I tell you, I've never been in as much pain in my entire life. And because I was quite new to the gym, I was still really like awkward, I was still really anxious. And I just remember trying to get off the machine. And I was like, I actually can't like move my leg. And it was my left leg as well. I just remember I was like, I need to drive home. There's like, I couldn't straighten my leg at all. I looked, then I went, finally made it down to the changing rooms. I looked in the mirror, all the way, like my whole hamstring, my ass was all black and blue. I was like, oh shit, this, I might be in danger. And then I was trying to drive my car, taking it out of the car park space. I kept conking out. I drive manual, and literally like, I couldn't control my foot coming back up, so I kept honking the car out. I was like, this is actually the worst experience of my life. So anytime I feel like a burning kind of sensation in my hamstrings, in my head I automatically think I'm going to tear my hamstring. But yeah, so it's taken a while, which is why we go for a higher rep range as well, so that in my head I'm like, right, well, the reps are higher, the weight needs to be lower, so therefore you're in your safety zone. But yeah, I actually hit a PB there, which I'm actually really happy about, so yeehaw.
Moving with the motion, following the light that
kickback. So basically this is to hit the upper and outer portion of the glute. So you're kind of seeing a trend, like we started with the abductor, finishing them with a glute med kickback. There's so many variations of a kickback. This is just the one that I'm doing in this session. So the idea is to keep your hips in one position. So what I like to think about is having them like square to the cable. Then from there, I actually bring my leg from here. So I get a good stretch as I bring my leg like in towards the cable. And I think about dragging out and then squeezing. Like you'll be able to see, like even if I bring my foot out, like you can see the upper glute engaging, and then you want to come slow back in. I think where a lot of people get confused is they're like, oh, like I don't feel my glutes in this exercise, or I don't feel my glutes in that exercise. Like, but what are you comparing the sensation from? Like if you're trying to compare, for example, like a hip thrust sensation in your glutes compared to a kickback, they're gonna feel completely different. So just because you don't feel your glutes working doesn't mean that they're not working, if that makes sense. But when it comes to say something like an isolation movement, you should be able to feel the glute working or whatever muscle you are trying to isolate, because that's the whole idea. But for the likes of like an RDL, like a leg press, hip thrust, you will feel other muscles working. Doesn't mean that you're not actually targeting your glutes. Okay guys, that is a wrap on today's lower 3 session. I hope you've enjoyed more of like a chit-chatty kind of a vibe, talking you through some of the movements. If you did enjoy this, definitely give it a like. Anything that's gonna, you know, encourage me to keep these up. But yeah, I will be documenting a little bit more of basically what goes on between now and prep, because I feel like everyone documents the prep, but no one actually kind of documents what happens before prep. So to be honest, the time now, from like now until I start prep, is probably more important than the prep itself. Like this is what sets the tone. So that's what we are doing. We have 6 weeks. We are gonna absolutely smash this off season. Like so far, this has been the most productive off season I've had. Like I still look in the mirror, I'm like, how am I actually still staying so lean? Like I'm only 2 kilos up from my shoot, which was 8 weeks ago or something like that now. So yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good place, to be honest. Like I'm really happy with the visuals and training performance wise. Like this is the most consistent my training performance has been, if we take away the kind of 2-3 weeks that I had for my crippled back. But yeah, overall I'm so happy with how things are moving. Meg's super happy. She also agrees that this is definitely the best that she's seen me visually. So once Meg is happy, I don't really give a fuck. I just do as I'm told, I get on with it. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.